Hail, Internet! It's Paul, it's Matt, the Dork Lords. We are here today talking about the second episode of the HBO series Dune Prophecy, the episode entitled Two Wolves. We open with Sister Nazir from the Souk School conducting an autopsy on Sister Kasha, who was burned to death at the end of the last episode. Quick note, the Souk School will still be training doctors 10,000 years later, which is where Dr. Yui from the Dune storyline is trained. Sister Nazir concludes that Kasha was burned without the use of an accelerant. Valia sees this as the reckoning prophesied by Raquella, again back in episode 1. In an effort to salvage the situation, Valia decides to quickly get back to the Emperor's palace, leaving her sister Tula in charge of the school. Since the cause of this murder and that of Prince Pruitt are still a mystery, Valia orders Tula to have Raquella's descendant, Lila, perform the agony ritual in an attempt to speak with Raquella's spirit and perhaps glean some more information about who's behind these murders. It's very plot heavy, but that's what that is. All right.
Yeah.
We end with Valia returning to the Emperor's palace to sell out the rebels, including Kieran Atreides, who is secretly their inside man. It would practically be a death sentence for him. But before she can meet with the Emperor, she is confronted by Desmond Hart, who informs her that her services are no longer needed at the court. He is now the new enforcer for the Emperor. He tells her his goal is to wipe out the entire Bene Gesserit sisterhood. Valia uses the voice, as she did on Dorothea, to make him slit his own throat, but he resists. Casually tells her that he now knows what she fears most. Not that no one will hear her, it's that people will hear her and just not care. She leaves, humiliated. All that's, I'm sure, never to be seen again. I'm sure that's the end of that. All that said, Paul.
Yes.
What'd you think of episode 2?
Yeah, I enjoyed myself. Yeah, even though it's funny. I mean, there are people that I like, but I was thinking, like, Valia there. It's like I like the actress. I kind of like the character, even though she does terrible things.
Yes, she seems pretty villainous, for sure.
Yeah. I don't know why I kind of like her. Maybe that's my type. Yeah, but I certainly like Natalia, though. So I'm glad that she, we haven't seen anything from her. I'm sorry,
and
not
Natalia
Natalia.
is the
I
Emperor's
meant the
wife.
Actually, no, I meant Inez.
Okay.
I don't know why I thought of Natalia. Natalia is kind of even worse, actually, than
Natalia's definitely got to, like, let's just use him to kill people for us.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know what her, I question with you whether or not she was also taught by the Bene Gesserit.
Right, we're not
Bene
sure
Gesserit,
about that.
But the whole thing about this show is, like, women who have to connive in order to actually have power over the men in their lives. So
they do so in a cutthroat way.
Yeah. So it's like, oh yeah,
literally,
you can be in charge, but no, I'm really in charge. I like Inez because she, even though she's like, okay, I'm willing to get involved with the nefarious sisters, she still seems pretty, straightforward and of good character. So
I got you, and we do learn this interesting bit of history for Inez. She tells Kieran that she and her half-brother, Constantine, were kidnapped by enemies of the throne, apparently when they were kids. You pair that with Kasha's conversation with Inez in episode 1. Kasha describes how the Bene Gesserit found Inez after she'd been held captive for years. So it sounds like she was being held maybe for ransom, for some sort of demands that were never met. And then at some point, the Emperor employed the sisters to find and rescue her. Seeing as how the Bene Gesserit is manipulating the rebels, it's not really a big stretch to think that maybe they had Inez kidnapped so that they could heroically rescue her and recruit her to their cause.
Yeah, it's not out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it's funny because while I guess you could argue by the time of the movie Dune that maybe things got better.
Did they, Paul?
I mean, it's sort of like there you don't get the idea of the heavy hand of the sisterhood. They're a much more subtle hand in the future, or at least a bit less.
But there's still the scene, in Dune where Bene Gesserit shows up to Paul. It's like, put your hand in this box.
Yes,
and you're gonna feel intense pain, like your hand's burning off. And if you move your hand out of the box, I'll kill you. Like, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
But
sure.
Right, but they're not going straight to killing. You see how they've improved. Yeah, she could have told that woman, like, "Oh, put it up to your neck." Okay, but all right, don't mess with me. We're gonna do this plan about the genetics. No, she just kills her. So
yeah, just right. Good point.
Improvement.
Okay, right. There's an if-then kind of thing. Okay, I got you. So the show, confirmed its R rating. I mean, last week I guess they killed a kid. I don't know, but this week they had the steamy sex scene.
Oh yeah, it's HBO.
It's HBO. Constantine has sex with Pruitt's older sister. She uses the tryst to get information out of him, namely that the man they're secretly holding for Pruitt's murder spent time on Arrakis.
Oh
ding, 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 ding. And we see her later when her dad announces that bit of information. She does this little wink over at Constantine, like, that was me. I had the info. Anyway, so it was an obvious ploy in that moment. Yes. Much like you were just saying, how the women in the show are using ploys.
Yep.
So the Emperor listens to his wife, who advocates using Desmond, instead of executing Desmond, using him as an enforcer. And then when Pruitt's father threatens the Emperor, he has Desmond burn him to within an inch of his life, making him beg for mercy. I would say, first of all, I don't think third-degree burns are going to make an ally out of Pruitt's father. I feel like he's going to say whatever he needs to say to leave, which he does, and they let him go, apparently. And then as soon as he's out of the control, I think he's just going to turn around and be like, how do I destroy this emperor? So I don't know. I don't think that made make friends with burning them until they look like Freddy Krueger.
Although, if they were doing it in a known way, then you could guard against it. But nobody that we've met seems to know how he's doing it.
True, but they know he's doing it. That's kind of where I was going next. It seems a short-sighted way of using Desmond's power. The advantage of Desmond's power is that it's mysterious and it's kind of forensically difficult to trace. Oh, it's just no accelerants. He just started burning. But if you have him stand next to the target, Pruitt's father, a very public official, give him the go-ahead and then let him critically injure, but not kill this guy in front of witnesses, including this guy's wife, you've now revealed how it's done. I mean, you've revealed who's doing it. And so I feel like you just put a giant target on Desmond's back. You could just as easily have, talentless hack with gun. Hey, talentless hack with gun, shoot him in the leg. Yes, sir. Okay. I mean, it's kind of as opposed to, assassin in the dark, killing people mysteriously who just happen to cross the Emperor. I feel like you've just. But
there's something he doesn't know that we don't know. Whether or not he's also not behind the burning of someone so far away that if that guy he's probably in that range, actually.
Okay.
It's like that place wherever the sisterhood was. Yes, probably further away than this guy is in his
You got to get pretty far away. Yes, I agree. Now, that said, I had the theory that he didn't kill Kasha. I'm still of that belief. And in the interrogation scene, we'll call it, when Valia is questioning Desmond.
Yes.
I wrote down actually their responses because he doesn't technically admit to killing Kasha.
No, he just says she's a bad person and she basically deserved it.
So in the context, it's like, did you kill Pruitt Richese? Yeah. I did. So he has no problem just going, yep, I did that one. Then, did you kill Reverend Mother Kasha? She was unworthy to stand beside the Emperor. I saw the corruption in her heart. Does not say I did. Does it? Like, I feel like it's still the idea that there's a coordinated attack.
Right.
Yes, he saw this corruption, and someone else did the thing, and there's at least one more like him hidden in the school. That's what I'm going with.
Yeah, so you're giving this, other guy so little credit for being like, oh, well, I know that one person did it, and he doesn't know that anything else has happened. But he could have had friends who could also do it, so he doesn't actually know enough. Neither do we.
I got you. You're saying Pruitt's dad is like, anywhere I go, I'm doomed unless I play ball, is what you're saying. I got you.
Or at least that's what they're betting anyway. So if he finds out more information, like, oh, there's only 3 guys that can do this.
Right.
They're all far away from me. Yeah.
Yeah, their range is 3 meters. Oh, well. Okay, just sniper on roof. Let's kill. Okay, we're done. All right, thank you. The dream sequence, I think, was pretty well presented. I enjoyed that. It felt sufficiently horrifying. We have basically these wraiths of all of the women in Lila's lineage.
It was creepy there, the way their faces would...
very creepy. So it was like similar to T'Challa's heart-shaped herb journey.
Yeah,
but
kind of.
Much creepier.
Oh, yeah.
Take this drug, and you'll go into the land of your fathers, who just lounge.
Yeah. You take the drug, and it's not a painful experience.
Right.
You just go to sleep there, and you see all your relatives. It's
a nice. They give you advice.
Yep, and it's a nice, like trees around and everything, and it's very balmy. This is like a dungeon.
Bowels of some ancient temple, and everyone feels very creepy. In fact, we get this somewhat confusing. I think you and I mentioned this before we started talking here, where it was like, okay, the whole purpose was to go back and get more of Raquela's prophecy. Yeah. And they do, theoretically. They hear supposedly Raquela speak through Lila saying like, it's a person will die twice, once by spice. They will be scarred and all this stuff. And so then, though, it seemed like the person that was talking, who we assume to be Raquela, is actually Dorothea. Right. So that instead of Lila's great-grandmother, it's Lila's grandmother. Right. Who was murdered by Valia. And so that information is imparted, I think, to Lila. But then also she's like, well, I'm going to keep Lila with me. And then Lila falls into what I think is a coma. Because I think there's in the trailer for the next episode, we see that she's still on some kind of life support.
It seems like
I don't think she's dead. But that's the... Anyway, but it's very creepy, very, horror movie-esque. Way to go.
Yeah. We don't know whether or not it's not the unreliable prophecy.
Yeah.
Or
whatever, was it Dorothea pretending to be Raquela giving this prophecy? Yeah. Probably not. It was probably like, okay, we'll believe what's being said to us. But it was oddly presented in that way. Like, wait, if you out there in internet land have an idea for how Raquela fit into that moment. Was Raquela there in person or not? Anyway, so that was confusing to me. And is it an unreliable narrator? Was it Dorothea pretending to be Raquela or not? Desmond, I was a little confused by this as well, as long as we're talking about things that were a little confusing. So I thought at the end of episode 1 that someone had left the video of Desmond being killed on Arrakis.
Oh, right, yeah.
As a way to expose him. Yeah. Look, he's a fake because look at this scenario. But no, Desmond comes out and says it. Oh yeah, no, I was swallowed by the worm. He took my eye and he gave me great power as a gift. So the video we see, I guess what I'd like to see is the video right before that. Like back the video up. Because what we see is Desmond, I assume it's Desmond, standing alone in the desert. There's a wrecked ship that's burning. And then he's got a series of thumpers, I think, all around him, basically. So usually thumpers, as we saw in the Dune movies, are used to distract the worm so you can get across the desert. Here, he's summoning the worm to him, and then he's with open arms accepting this worm. So was he committing suicide because he was stranded in the desert? Was he being executed by his attackers in some weird way? Did he have some foreknowledge that this would all work out for him? Is the video a fake? I was confused by what we're seeing there because I feel like if you take it at face value, it seems like he intentionally got himself killed by the worm, which doesn't necessarily work with the story he's telling, where I was just a soldier and I was trying to fight off these attackers. And then for some reason I decided to, have myself devoured by, like, there's more to that story.
Sure.
To his background. So, anyway, that was confusing to me. Any thoughts on that for you in terms of your interpretation?
No, I definitely don't feel like, because, this definitely feels like something like, I was going to say the fact that I'm not that familiar with the lore, but even amongst people that are, since this is sort of in between two sort of parts that are documented, it's like, oh, is this group what's going to become some other group or something?
Correct. It's kind of like, is this going to turn into the thing?
I feel like there's some, they're deliberately keeping it vague.
Say, much like the prophecy that we're hearing, they're deliberately keeping it very vague. You could, with a little work, you could interpret that prophecy to be what happens in Dune. This prophecy is 10,000 years too early. But you could also interpret it as Desmond is this reckoning. So, they're hiding the ball a little bit for sure.
In the comedy version of this, there'd be Sisterhood giving some emperor, here's the prophecy, and then him coming to a completely stupid interpretation of it, and then maybe it turning out to be true. Oh my gosh! Oh
wow! Look at that! Or kind of Life of Brian-ish, right? Where it's the wise men showed up one barn off. Oh wait, we're in the wrong place. Sorry. So I foresee potentially 2 confrontations by the end of the season that I think both could be possibly deadly. I'm not necessarily going to mat people on this, but I think,
oh wow! Yeah, if it was just a couple of days earlier, you would have matted a whole bunch of people.
That's right. I mean, the show is they're tricky. They're tricky. Yeah. The story you're getting is that you have to interpret they're almost like second guessing me. They're like, okay, what would Matt think? Well then we should reverse psychology the ending. So I feel like Kieran versus Inez is coming up. They've showed us now in each episode there's been a training fight. And I would say arguably in both of those fights Kieran wins. He's the trainer, he's better at combat. I think they're leading to an actual fight between them.
Okay.
And so the sense then narratively would be like, well, he's the better fighter, so he'll probably win, which means you're going to have Inez win that fight. Does she kill him? I don't know. But I feel like we also know now they are on opposite ends. He is not a
loyal subject.
A loyal subject acting in good faith.
Of the Empire.
He is there to help the rebels. He maps out the palace so that the rebels can break in and do terrible things. So while he probably has feelings for her, I think his feelings for the rebellion is probably stronger, and they will come to blows. That is my thought there,
right.
And she will win the fight, whatever that means.
Sure.
Then I think the other one, I feel like you almost gotta have, because otherwise they're kind of playing the same character. I think you need Valia versus Tula. And I'm not saying like a fist fight, but I think maybe like in the Penguin, Valia is gonna kill her sister to achieve what she sees as the goals of the Sisterhood. Tula obviously has a lot of Tula wants to give Lila the choice in this.
Sure.
Look, I don't want to force her to take poison that'll probably kill her. I want her to make that choice, and Valia obviously doesn't. Valia's like, I don't care if she has a choice. Do it. Just figure out. Do it.
You don't think that has to happen this season, do you?
I don't know. Maybe.
Wow.
Okay. If it is, it's going to be last episode kind of thing. There's only 6 episodes. But I feel like those two are headed for a collision course as to the direction of the Sisterhood.
And which one do you give the money to? I mean,
I feel like because of what we see in the Sisterhood 10,000 years later, it seems more of a Valia, we're going to do this genetic program and continue it. I feel like the continuation of that seems more of a Valia thing. So I think maybe Valia, does something terrible to her sister,
Interesting.
because the sister, defied the sisterhood. We even had this thing in this episode where they were like, sisters above all, but they're like, but really it's the sisterhood above all. The individual doesn't seem to matter so much.
Okay.
They have so anyway, I'm just thinking, I think those two are going to be at odds, and bad things will happen.
Okay, all right. I think you could be right about that, although I feel like if you're doing a series and probably doesn't have in this season.
I got you. So
Kinda
maybe you're
feel
talking like a
that's
season
something-
2 type of thing, or a season
Or
3.
yeah.
Okay.
I definitely don't think. I think they only get a number of seasons out of this. I don't think they go long, especially since they went 6 episodes the first season. So 2 or 3, and at the end of it, I would put my money on Tula.
Okay. All right. Interesting.
I feel like she would sort of take a middle ground. So more than the previous generation, but not crazy.
Not crazy. Or maybe what we'll see here by the end of episode 6 here is the start of a schism within the sisterhood.
Okay.
Maybe like Tula, has people that follow her, maybe more middle ground approach or something.
Maybe,
we'll see.
Maybe.
Anyway, because just the fact that she's been left in charge of, and so anyway, blah blah blah. We'll see how that plays out. But those are some of my theory craftings for how this season might go.
Okay.
We will be back talking about episode 3. As we talk here, we're about to hit Thanksgiving. So happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there. Happy Thanksgiving to you.
You're not going to see this until after Thanksgiving, so
right, exactly. It's a little weird, but
hope you.
No, I'm sure
it.
I'll edit this within the next 10 minutes, and it'll be fine. So yes, hope everyone had a happy Thanksgiving, and enjoy episode 3.
Yes.
Thanks as always, Paul. Appreciate it, good sir.
No problem.
And we'll talk to everybody next time.
Bye.